Hey everyone, it's book haul time. Let's see what's come in the mail. Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic as always. I am here to do my monthly book haul. These are all of the books that have been sent to me this month by publishers, and there are so many good ones. I cannot wait to tell you guys about it. So we might as well get started because it's a big stack and I don't want this video to take forever. The first book I'm going to tell you about is the one where I'm going to need to read the back the most, and that's Nona by Jean-Patrick Manchette, and I think this is translated, hold on one second, translated from the French by Donald Nicholson Smith. And this is from my friends over at the New York Review of Books. They always send me the best things. And this is coming out August 27th, so this is right around the corner. And this says, the thrill of 1968 is long over, and the heavy fog of the 1970s has settled in. In Paris, however, the Nona gang, or Groupsukkel, I don't know how to say that, I'm sorry, still retains a militant attachment to its revolutionary dreams. Bringing together an anarchist orphaned by the Spanish Civil War, a communist veteran of the French Resistance, a frustrated high school teacher of philosophy, a timid office worker, a terminal alcoholic, and one uncompromising young woman with a house in the country, Nona sets out to kidnap the American ambassador and issue a call to arms. What could possibly go wrong? That actually sounds very, very interesting. So that is Nona by Jean-Patrick Manchette, translated from the French by Donald Nicholson Smith. And this is out on August 27th from New York Review of Books. The next book, actually, I saw on my friend Chris at Chris's Bookish Cauldron on his books that he was most excited to see coming out in the fall. And I had not heard of it, but once he talked about it, I had to get my hands on One Division by Goldbloom. This is out from FSG on September 17th, 2019. So what do I know about this book? This is the story, let me see if I can get her name, Suri Eckstein. She's soon to be a great-grandmother. She has 11 children. And what's interesting, I think they range in age, she has 10 children that range in age from 13 to 39. And she's about to finally have her life back to herself when she finds out that she is pregnant again with her 11th child. And this is really then about her and what she's going to do with that information. And she starts by keeping it a secret. Does she want to tell anyone? And is it the first secret she's ever had from her husband and from her family? I think that's a very interesting idea. There's a lot more to this book, but that's really the bit and piece that's stuck in my head. And that's On Division by Goldbloom, and this is out from FSG on September 17th, right around the corner. The next book is part of my Graywolf Press ARC club that I am a part of, and that is Space Invaders by Nona Fernandez, translated from the Spanish by Natasha Wimmer, and this comes out on November 5th, 2019. This is the story of a group of childhood friends that are sort of obsessed with the life of one of their friends. Her name is Estrella Gonzalez Jespin, and she is everywhere. She's in their dreams. She pops up in their day-to-day. Like, for some reason, they are always sort of drawn back to this woman who disappeared. And it says here that her father, this young girl's father, was a ranking government officer implicated in the violent crimes of the Pinochet regime. The question of what became of her after she left school haunts her friends, and that's really where this book sits. So that's Space Invaders by Nona Fernandez, translated from the Spanish by Natasha Weimer. Okay, the next book, I just love this cover so much, was kindly sent to me by the people over at Harper Perennial. Let me see if I can find out when this comes out. It comes out on September 3rd, which is really not that far away. And that's Small Silent Things by Robin Page. And this is really the story of two people. The first is the story of Jocelyn Morrow. Jocelyn is a woman. She lives in California. She has a young daughter, and her life is drastically changed from the way that she grew up. And she really leads a very affluent life right now. And her mother has passed away, and it brings back to her past, her traumatic past. The back of the book talks about the fact that underneath her clothes she has scars on her back and a deep sort of intense inner feeling that there is a reason that this was done to her and that she invited it upon herself. And at the same time, she is becoming completely fascinated with her tennis coach, a woman named Kate. The second half of the story is her neighbor Simon Bonaventure, who is a landscape architect and is a Rwandan refugee. And he too is haunted by his past and really the genocide that went on in Rwanda and how he has been unable to escape that, the ghosts of that and who he was not able to save. And it becomes really how those two stories intertwine. So that's Small Silent Things by Robin Page. This is out again on September 3rd from Harper Perennial. Thank you guys so much for sending that to me. This book I actually requested because when I heard about it, I just really couldn't get it out of my head. And that's A Particular Kind of Black Man by Tope Folarin. And this is out from Simon and Schuster. I think this cover says so much. And it's blurbed by Marlon James. So if that does anything for you, there you go. This is the story of a young Nigerian boy who was born in Utah to parents that immigrated here from Nigeria. So he was born in Utah, raised in Utah, speaks English with sort of a Midwestern accent, however, deals with the day-to-day racism that is growing up in this small town in Utah. As he's dealing with that, his parents are also dealing with their own issues. His dad is trying to live the American dream, trying to work hard, but obstacle after obstacle is in his way. His mother is lonely. She doesn't have the friends in the community and the family that she had from Nigeria, and she starts to deal with and the whole family has to deal with sort of her deeper dive into her own schizophrenia. So this is the story of that, and that to me sounds just amazing. I think this book is going to be heart-wrenching, and my friend Amanda, who I recommend books to all the time, has already bought this book and says that it is brilliant, so there you go. And that's A Particular Kind of Black Man. It's by Tope Folarin, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, and this is out from Simon & Schuster. It is out now. You can get your hands on it. The next book is also out now, and that is Kristan Higgins' Life and Other Inconveniences. So the story of this book really speaks to me more than the cover, though you know I like a dog, and this diving dog is adorable. But this is the story of Emma London. Emma never really thought that she would have the life expected. Well, that's not what I want to say. How do I want to say this? Emma London never thought that she had anything in common with her grandmother. That's what I wanted to say. Her grandmother had a life where she was raised very, very affluent in New England, but tragedy struck. Her son disappeared. One of her sons disappeared. And what she really does, her grandmother, is she dives into her fashion career, becomes very, very famous, but really at the expense of her other son. Now, Emma is the daughter of that other son, and her mother has passed away, her father has abandoned her, and she is dropped off on her grandmother's doorstep. And her grandmother raises her until she is 16 or 17, comes home pregnant as a senior in high school, and her grandmother kicks her out, and Emma is required to really just start her life and take care of herself, which she does. Until one day she receives a phone call from her grandmother asking for help. What do you do in that situation? I hope I sold this book. That was a little convoluted in the beginning there. So that's Kristan Higgins. The novel is Life and Other Inconveniences. And this came out in early August from Berkley Books. So there you go. I'm not sure what the dog diving in water has to do with that, to be honest with you. The next book I am so excited to read, and it's a collection of short fiction by my friends over at Unnamed Press. Love them so much. It's called Future Tense Fiction, Stories of Tomorrow. These are all short stories written by a variety of different authors about technology and how technology that is coming to fruition is going to change the future. Some of the people who have written short stories in this are Charlie Jane Anders, Paolo Baccacciolupi. My Italian is awful. Carmen Marie Machado, Emily St. John Medell, Nnedi Okorafor. Come on, guys. All sorts of amazing people. And I'm assuming that I'm going to love everyone that wrote a story, and I'm going to go find their fiction. So this is future tense fiction. This is Stories of Tomorrow, and this is from Unnamed Press. This is coming out, oh my gosh, October 2nd, 2019. I think this is going to be a book a lot of people are talking about. So pre-order it, guys. Get it ready for you. Future tense fiction, Stories of Tomorrow from Unnamed Press. The next book, this book is titled differently in the UK, but in America it is being called The Starlet and the Spy by Ji Min Lee. I do not like that title, but I like the idea of this book. This is translated from the Korean by Chi Young Kim. Now, this is the story of a true event where Marilyn Monroe was in Korea, and she was there, I want to say on her honeymoon, and she, for a weekend, is going to tour Korea and put on a show. This is the story of a young woman, a Korean young woman, who is picked in order to translate for Marilyn Monroe, and sort of how that whole situation comes to fruition. I've already seen a review of this on Britta Bowler's channel there, and she told me that she really loved the sections set on, is her name? I'm trying to remember. Alice J. Kim is the name of the Korean interpreter. Really enjoyed the sections with Alice and sort of how she came to be where she is in her part of the book. And I love the idea of this book. I'm not sure, I'm worried that the title is giving something away, which worries me. But that's The Starlet and the Spy by Ji Min Lee. This is out in September as well, September 10th, 2019, and it is translated from the Korean by Chi Young Kim. I really think the idea sounds interesting, and I have this sort of fascination with Marilyn Monroe. I think that she is a fascinating woman in how she presented one way, but really was so smart about how she manipulated everyone's perspective of her, and how she was so brilliant in her own sort of marketing of herself as a person and what she did with that. That's a whole nother video, a whole nother time. The next book that I'm going to tell you about is another story collection, and that is Humiliation by Paulina Flores. This is out from Catapult, and this is translated by Megan, is it Megan? Megan McDowell. Now, Megan McDowell translated something that was shortlisted for the Man Booker Translated Prize, I do believe. I apologize if that is incorrect. I'm 99% sure that that is accurate. But this is a short story collection written about parts and different areas in Chile. And what it says here, it says that the author presents us with Chile we have seldom seen in fiction. Port cities marked by poverty and brimming with plans of rebellion, apartment buildings populated by dominant mothers and voyeuristic neighbors, library steps that lead students to literature, but also into encounters with other arts, those of seduction, self-delusion, and sabotage. I'm really interested. I actually love what they did with this word humiliation here. I think it sounds really interesting. So again, this is Paulina Flores' Humiliation. This is from Catapult. This is out on November 5th, 2019, and it is translated from the Spanish by Megan McDowell. Okay, I told you guys this was going to be a long video. The next book is by FSG. Again, this is coming out on September 17th, and this is Lampedusa by Stephen Price. I love books about writers writing books, and this book was sort of blurbed to me as if you liked Colin Tobin's The Master or Michael Cunningham's The Hours, you would like this book. I loved both of those books. But this is the story, the fictional story of Giuseppe Tomasi and the last prince of Lampedusa as he struggles to complete his only novel, The Leopard, which is a real book. I know a lot of people have read it, and that it is sort of an Italian classic. And he was diagnosed with emphysema, I believe, and he only had so long to live, and he had to finish his masterpiece. And I just love everything about that. I love books about books. I love books about writing books. I love books about the process. So that's Lampedusa Pedusa by Stephen Price. This is out September 17th from FSG. So thank you guys for sending me an early copy of this one. And I have a feeling that I'm going to have to find a copy of The Leopard. I actually went to my used bookstore to see if I could find one, just to see if I could pick one up. They didn't have it, so I'm probably going to have to go to the bookstore and pick it up. But I think it's going to be a great book to read in tandem. So there you go. This book was sent to me by the people at, what is the name? 47 North. I'm not sure I'm sold on it, but I think this cover is beautiful. Coming out October 1st, 2019, this is The Vine Witch by Luann G. Smith. Because I don't know much about this book, I'm going to read this to you. It says, for centuries, the vineyards of Chateau Renard have depended on the talent of their vine witches, whose spells help create the world-renowned wine of the Chateau Valley. Then the skill of divining harvests fell into ruin when the sorcerer Elena, and I can't say that last name, was blindsided by a curse. Now, after breaking the spell that confined her to the shallows of a marshland and weakened her magic, Elena is struggling to return to her former life, and the vineyard she was destined to inherit is now in the possession of a handsome stranger. Jean-Paul Martel naively favors science over superstition, and he certainly doesn't endorse the locals' belief in witchers. But Elena knows a hex when she sees one, and the vineyard is covered in them. And then that's the story, them coming together. So that's The Vine Witch by Luann G. Smith. This is out from 47 North on October 1st, 2019. I don't know how I feel about wine witchery. I don't know. I might like it. I'm going to give it a go, but we'll see how it happens. The next book I actually requested from the Amazon Crossing, which is part of the Amazon Publishing Group, because I saw it, I don't know, I was in a magazine, and it is Icelandic translated literature, which I haven't read any, zero. And that is A Fist or a Heart by Kristan. I'm going to hold that up there because I'm not going to say that right. Eric's Daughter, translated by Larissa Kaiser, and this is on sale on September 24th. And the reason is, you guys, another old woman. It's my thing. This is about a woman, I want to say she's in her 70s, I want to say. She lives, yes, she's in her early 70s. She lives in Reykjavik, Iceland, and she works for a prop company. She makes theater props. And she becomes obsessed with a young loner playwright. And what it says here, the girl has around... a playwright, a young, sensitive young playwright, and illegitimate daughter of a famous writer. The girl has aroused maternal feelings in this woman, but she has also stirred discomforting memories long packed away, because their paths have crossed before. One doesn't remember, the other is about to forget. That is great writing. That blurb is great. So this is, again, A Fist or a Heart by Kristan, Eric's Daughter, translated from the Icelandic by Larissa Kaiser. I really am excited about that one. The next book I'm not going to talk a lot about because it's the second in a series, but I just have to say thank you so much to Harper Voyager for sending me The Dragon Republic. This is out now. It's the sequel to The Poppy Wars by R.F. Kuang. I will be reading this very soon as a buddy read with my friend Kendra over at Kendra Winchester. We both loved the first book and we are expected to love the second book. So that's The Dragon Republic. If you haven't read The Poppy War, please go read The Poppy War. Get the second book. I'm 100% sure it will be worth your time. The next book, I don't even know how to explain, but I saw this in the bookstore. It had just come out, and I kindly asked the publishers for a review copy of FKA USA by Reed King. Now, the first thing that intrigues me is Reed King is actually a pseudonym for a New York Times bestselling author and TV writer. So I don't know who that is, but the idea behind this book is absolutely insane. It's 2085, and Truckee Wallace, a factory worker in Crunchtown 407, formerly Little Rock, Arkansas, before the secessions, has no grand ambitions, besides maybe, possibly, losing his virginity someday. But when Truckee is thrust unexpectedly into the spotlight, he is tapped by the president for a sensitive political mission, to deliver a talking goat across the continent. The fate of the world depends on it. The problem is, Truckee's not sure it's worth it. Joined on the road by an android who wants to be human and a former convict lobotomized in the sovereign nation of Texas, Truckee will navigate an environmentally depleted and lawless continent with devastating and hilarious parallels to our own. dodging body pickers and Elvis worshippers and logo girls, body subbers and VR addicts. Elvis willing, he may even lose his virginity. I think this book may crack me up. It sounds like it's going to be hilarious. So that's FK USA by Reed King. So I want to thank Flatiron Books so much for sending me this beautiful finished copy. So that is a very large stack of books that were sent to me. I'm not going to try to hold it up for you. As always, if you guys are a return subscriber, I thank you so very, very much. If you are new to my channel, I really, really thank you for coming. I hope you stick around, and I hope you get a lot of these books on your TBR. As always, try to pre-order them from your local independent bookstore or get your library to order them for you. As I always say, I encourage you to shop locally, read globally, and until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye!